Google promises the $499 Pixel 10a 7 years of updates. Tensor G4, a 6.3-inch OLED at 120Hz, 48 megapixel camera. Apple promises the iPhone 16e 5 years. On paper, that is a 2-year win for Google. Except Apple's record beats its own promise, and Google has never once finished a 7-year run. The smaller promise has the better history, and nobody checks that part. If these first few minutes are already making you feel some type of way, do the video a solid, drop a comment below this video, smash like, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. Now let's get back into it. Start with what each company has actually written down, because only one of them wrote anything down voluntarily. Google's is easy to find. Google's own announcement for the Pixel 10a lists 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches, and 7 years of Pixel feature drops. Google put that on its product page, in public, with no regulator standing over it. The phone shipped on March 5th at $499 for the 128GB model, running Android 16 out of the box. Apple's is much harder to find, and the reason it exists at all is a law. The United Kingdom passed the Product Security and Telecommunications Infrastructure Act in 2022, and the rules came into force in April 2024. MacRumors explained what that meant. Any company selling internet-connected products in Britain must publish a defined support period, the minimum time it will supply security updates. Apple had never done this. It had spent years being praised for long software support while committing to nothing at the point of sale. So Apple filed. The statement of compliance for the iPhone 15 Pro Max gives a defined support period of a minimum of 5 years from the first supply date and lists that date as September 22nd, 2023. Now read that carefully because two words are doing a lot of work: minimum and security. MacRumors is explicit that Apple is only guaranteeing 5 years of security updates and is not guaranteeing any number of years of iOS updates at all. The regulation only covers security patches, so that is all Apple committed to. Google's 7 years covers both. Tom's Guide put the comparison plainly. At a minimum, iPhones are guaranteed 5 years of support, less than the 7 years from Google and Samsung. So if you stopped here, the Pixel wins, and it is not close. Google promises more, promises it in writing, and promises it about more things. Do not stop here, because a promise and a record are not the same evidence, and on this one, the record points the other way. Google's 7-year era is younger than most people assume. Google's own support page says Pixel 8, and later phones get updates for 7 years, counted from when the device first became available on the Google Store in the United States, and that this covers 7 years of both operating system and security updates. The Pixel 8 arrived in October 2023. That is less than 3 years ago, which means no Pixel has ever finished a 7-year run, not one. The first to complete it will be the Pixel 8 in October 2030. Until that month, 7 years is a commitment rather than a result. Now look at what Apple has actually done while promising 5. Android Authority points out that the iPhone XR is the oldest phone to receive iOS 18, and the XR came out in 2018. 6 years of operating system updates on a phone Apple promised nothing about. And it went further this year. The iPhone 11 launched in 2019 and sits on the iOS 27 compatibility list, which makes 2026 its 7th year, 7 years. From the company whose written guarantee says 5 and says 5 only about security patches. So the honest scoreboard is this. Apple's floor is 5 and its habit is 6 to 7. Google's floor is 7 and its habit at that length is unknown because it has not had time to exist. One thing genuinely in Google's favor because it cuts against the point I just made. In December 2024, Google went back and extended the Pixel 6, the Pixel 7, and the Pixel Fold to 5 years of both software and security updates, upgrading phones already sold under a weaker policy. A company that quietly improves support on hardware it already shipped is not one looking for an exit. Now the phones themselves, because you are not buying a policy document. The Pixel 10a is a new phone at $499 for 128GB. It runs the Tensor G4, which is the same chip as the Pixel 9a before it, paired with the Titan M2 security chip and 8GB of RAM. The screen is a 6.3-inch OLED Actua display running at 120Hz, with a peak brightness Google quotes at 3000 nits, protected by Gorilla Glass 7i. There is a 5100 milliamp hour battery, a 48 megapixel main camera with optical stabilization, and a 13 megapixel ultra-wide alongside it. It also adds satellite SOS, which is a first for the A series. GSM Arena scored it 4 out of 5 in March. The iPhone 16e runs Apple's A18 chip. It launched at $599, and MacRumors reported in July that Apple's own refurbished store now lists it from $419. On the wider refurbished market, RefurbMe put it near $341. That gap matters more than any spec here. At $419 from Apple, you are $80 under the Pixel, with a warranty attached. At $341, you are $158 under it. What the extra money buys on the Pixel side is straightforward. A second rear camera, which the 16e does not have at all, and the screen refreshing at 120Hz instead of 60. GSM Arena made the same observation reviewing the 10A against Apple's cheapest current model, naming those two as immediate advantages. Here is the strongest argument against everything I have told you, and it is the one that should probably decide this for most people. A written commitment is enforceable, a habit is not. If Apple decides that 5 years is where the iPhone 16e stops, nobody can accuse Apple of breaking anything, because 5 years is exactly what the document says. Every extra year the iPhone 11 received was a gift, and gifts can stop without notice. Google's 7 years is a published number attached to a specific end date, and that is a genuinely different kind of thing to own. There is a second problem with Apple's number that makes it weaker than it first looks. The 5-year commitment covers security patches only. Apple has not guaranteed a single iOS upgrade to anybody, so the thing Apple wrote down does not even promise the feature you actually care about. And the argument cuts at Google too. Android Police has made the case that Google's 7-year promise means less than it sounds because of the hardware underneath it, pointing out that the silicon in a mid-range Pixel is unlikely to feel good near the end of that window. A Tensor G4 in 2033 will be running an Android version written for chips that do not exist yet. That is the same trap we covered in the levels video, and it applies here in full. So the rule is not buy the Apple one, the rule is decide which kind of evidence you actually want to own. If you want a flaw written down with an end date on it, the Pixel 10a is the only one of these two offering that, and $499 is a fair price for it. If you would rather bet on the company with the longest demonstrated record of supporting old phones, and take the lower price while you are at it, the refurbished 16e is sitting between $341 and $419. And Apple has beaten its own promise every year so far. One is a guarantee, the other is a track record. Neither one is a lie, and anybody telling you this comparison is obvious has not read what either company actually published. Prices move weekly on refurbished stock, so check the live listing on the day you buy, rather than trusting any figure in any video, including this one. Every source is linked below. If you want more content like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and share this video so you never miss out. Let us know in the comments below. Would you rather have a promise in writing or a company with a better history? And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to see it. Hey, before you go, the previous episode of the Cheap Phone Files series is the cheapest used iPhone that still gets Apple Intelligence in case you missed it, and the complete binge-worthy Cheap Phone Files playlist has every price tier taken apart waiting for you. Trust me, this is one of those series you will want to watch end to end. The real prices, the hidden costs, the phones that actually last. Go watch them both right now and keep the deep dive going. You know you want to. Thank you for watching.